Your phone buzzes for the 47th time today. Another email that needs urgent attention. Another social media update triggering that familiar anxiety. Another day feeling overwhelmed by forces seemingly beyond your control. What if I told you that someone diagnosed this modern condition almost 2,000 years ago, and not only diagnosed it, but offered a solution so powerful that it could transform your life today? Modern life is breaking you. Epictetus warned us 2,000 years ago. Hi, I'm Stoic Sagacity. Today, we're traveling back 2 millennia to meet a man born into slavery who became one of history's greatest philosophers. His name was Epictetus, and his ancient wisdom might be the exact medicine our modern souls desperately need. Who was Epictetus? Born around 50 CE in Hierapolis, now part of Turkey, Epictetus began life as a slave in Rome. Despite his circumstances, he studied Stoic philosophy under Musonius Rufus, eventually gaining his freedom and becoming a teacher himself. Epictetus never wrote down his teachings. What we know comes from his student Arrian, who documented his master's wisdom. These writings, particularly the Enchiridion or Handbook, have guided everyone from Roman emperors to modern CEOs through life's greatest challenges. But what makes Epictetus special isn't just his remarkable life story. It's how eerily his diagnoses of human suffering apply to our hyper-connected, yet increasingly isolated modern world. So what exactly did Epictetus understand about human suffering that we've forgotten? And how can his ancient wisdom help us navigate the unique challenges of the 21st century? The core problem: control. At the heart of Epictetus's philosophy is a simple but revolutionary idea. Much of our suffering comes from trying to control things beyond our power while neglecting what is actually within our control. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." According to Epictetus, the only things truly in our control are our judgments, our actions, and our will. Everything else, other people's opinions, our reputation, wealth, health, and even the outcomes of our actions is ultimately not up to us. Think about it. How much anxiety in your life comes from worrying about what others think of you, stressing about situations beyond your influence, obsessing over outcomes you can't guarantee, comparing your life to others on social media. When that social media post doesn't get enough likes, when traffic makes you late despite leaving early, when a pandemic disrupts your career, these situations reveal the gap between what we want to control and what we actually can. Epictetus would argue that your suffering comes not from the event itself, but from your judgment about it. And that judgment is entirely within your control. Modern application number 1: social media and status anxiety. Nothing exemplifies our control problem better than social media. Each notification feeds our craving for validation while simultaneously reminding us how little control we have over others' opinions. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Epictetus taught that chasing fame and approval is a recipe for misery. Why? Because you surrender your peace of mind to the unpredictable opinions of others. The Stoic approach isn't necessarily deleting all your accounts. It's remembering that your worth isn't determined by likes or followers. It's understanding that true freedom comes from being indifferent to praise and criticism alike. What would change if you posted what felt authentic rather than what might get attention? What if you measured your life's value by your own standards rather than arbitrary metrics of success? Modern application number 2: news and information overload. Every day, we're bombarded with information designed to trigger emotional responses. War, climate crisis, political division, economic uncertainty. The 24-hour news cycle profits from keeping us perpetually anxious. Epictetus said, "We suffer not from events, but from our judgments about events." Epictetus would recognize this as a modern trap. We obsessively consume information about events we cannot control, then wonder why we feel powerless and afraid. The Stoic approach isn't burying your head in the sand. It's asking, what's truly in my sphere of influence here? Perhaps it's voting, volunteering, or making local changes. Beyond that, Epictetus would advise accepting that many of world's events are, ultimately, not up to you. What if you consumed news with purpose rather than habit? What if you distinguished between staying informed and drowning in information that paralyzes rather than empowers you? Modern application number 3, career and success. In a culture that equates worth with professional achievement, career setbacks can feel devastating. Being passed over for promotion, losing a job, or watching peers advance faster can trigger profound identity crises. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Epictetus, who experienced the ultimate loss of autonomy as a slave, would remind us that our true value doesn't come from titles or salaries. Our virtue or character and actions remains entirely within our control, regardless of career outcomes. The Stoic doesn't pin their happiness on getting the job. They focus on doing their best work, maintaining integrity, and accepting that hiring decisions, market forces, and office politics are largely beyond their control. What would change if you defined success by how well you performed your role rather than how quickly you advanced? What if you measured achievement by your character rather than your compensation? The practice. Daily Stoicism. So, how do we actually apply Epictetus's wisdom to our daily lives? The Stoics had practical exercises we can adapt for modern life. 1. Morning reflection. Before checking your phone, take 5 minutes to identify what's within your control today and what isn't. 2. The premeditation of adversity. Briefly imagine potential challenges before they happen. Not to worry, but to remind yourself that you can respond virtuously no matter what occurs. 3. Evening review. Before sleep, review your day. Where did you get distracted by things beyond your control? Where did you exercise good judgment despite challenges? 4. The view from above. When something seems overwhelming, imagine viewing it from high above Earth. How important will this be in a month? A year? 10 years? These aren't just philosophical exercises. They're practical tools for mental clarity in an age of unprecedented distraction and anxiety. Now, conclusion and call to action. Epictetus lived through slavery, exile, and physical disability, yet maintained his inner freedom. If his philosophy could withstand those challenges, imagine what it could do for our comparatively comfortable modern struggles. Epictetus told, "Freedom is not achieved by satisfying desire, but by eliminating it." The paradox Epictetus reveals is profound. By surrendering our need to control the uncontrollable, we gain unprecedented freedom and peace. In a world constantly telling us we need more success, more validation, more control, Epictetus offers the radical alternative that maybe we need less: fewer judgments, fewer desires, fewer attachments to outcomes. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 7 days, start each morning by asking what's truly within your control and what isn't. Notice how this simple distinction changes your relationship with everything from traffic jams to critical comments to world events. Share your experience in the comments below. Has Stoicism helped you navigate modern challenges? What Epictetus' teaching resonates most with your situation? If you found value in this perspective, please consider subscribing and sharing with someone who might benefit from this ancient wisdom. As Epictetus reminds us, you are not your body and possessions, but your capacity for choosing well. The real you is the power to examine everything, to determine the value of each thing. In a world that's breaking us in new ways every day, perhaps this 2000-year-old wisdom is exactly what we need to become whole again.